we are in for a treat. The trials do look really, really good, especially considering that it's August. They've held up very, very well. A couple of housekeeping things to start off with. I believe there is a sign-up sheet in the chat feature, so you can go to that and sign in. We have applied for continuing education credits for landscape contractors, so if you need credits, go ahead and sign in there. And at the end, there will be a quiz if you want credits. So make sure you check that chat at the end to get the credits. And we can give you some more information on that as we get towards the end. I also want to say that as we're going through, please ask questions in the chat. We will relay them to our presenters, and they'll answer them in real time. Also, if something comes to you afterwards, all of our emails are on our website, jcra.ncsu.edu, and you can always send us questions. We're happy to help anybody out. Our primary mission here is to serve as a living laboratory for students to evaluate and introduce new plants to the public in the green industry and to support the green industry. And that's really what this field day is all about, all of those things. Our interns are here and participating. They've worked with the trials with us. These are formal evaluations that we're doing. And hopefully this supports all of you in figuring out what you're going to grow, what you're going to offer. And there's some really interesting things. I think the last few years have been some of the most exciting years in terms of color trials, just people using different plants, and they just continue to improve again and again, year after year. So it's a really good year. So the way we're going to have this, we have our gardens manager, Doug Ruhren, and our color trials coordinator, Bernadette Clark, are going to be talking about some of the successes and probably some of the failures that we've had out here this year. They're going to go through some part of the trials. And then we've also got some video from some of our trial participants. So we will intersperse some of the live tour with some taped recordings. But we're going to start off first with an introduction to the trials and the first set of plants that they want to talk about with Doug and Bernadette.
Good morning. Thanks for participating in this field day.
Yes, good morning. Thank you for joining us. And I think we'll just start out with telling you a little bit about the trials and how we conduct them. Just wanted to let you know that we are what's called a fee for entry trial site, which means that the companies pay us a fee to trial their plant material. They are given 3 different ways of entering their plant material. Tim, I don't know if you can expand. You see we do hanging baskets. We also offer trials in containers, as you can see here, and in-ground trialing evaluations.
Now let me ask a question, Bernadette.
Sure.
Do they have to choose one, or can they have them trialed in multiple ways?
They can have them in all 3 areas if they so choose. There is a fee for each location, but yes, and you will notice as we go through today, we have several things both in, whether it's a combination of the hanging basket or the container and ground, or a combination of all of those. We also offer trialing in sun and shade, as right now we're under the shade because it's pretty bright right now here. Wanted to let you know we do receive our plant material as seeds, and we also receive them as vegetative cuttings, rooted cuttings. And the seed material needs to be started in January. So starting in January, I start sowing, and then each week until about the middle of March, we do the seed, we germinate seeds. The vegetative material that comes for us the middle of March. We pot it up and finish it in the greenhouse prior to putting out into the field. Do you have something you would like to say? Okay, well then I'll just continue on with saying that Typically, we plant the trials at the end of April. This year, as all of y'all know, it's an exceptional year. We planted the plant material in the ground by the 10th of May, and then about 10 days later, we had the hanging baskets and the containers completed and in place. The beds, the trial beds, I beg your pardon? Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I was just told let's walk, and yeah, it is much more enjoyable to walk, and we'll tell you a few more things about our setup. But before we do, I do want to tell you about our labels. So you know our labeling system. Tim, I don't know if that's in the whole thing. Our labels, each of our entries are given a label. The first thing is going to tell you where it's located, the bed and the lane in the trial area. Then it's the cultivar. You have the common name, the scientific name, and then the source for this entry. Source doesn't mean it's the only place you can get the plant material, but it is the one who is paying to have it trialed. So just know that each of our plants do have these labels. So if it's a new one to us this year, we put a new banner in the corner. Anyway, so let's go ahead and we'll start walking. Doug, if you'll do that, I'm gonna put this back.
Okay. Right here, we have a number of new caladium cultivars. We have the same cultivars planted out in full sun, mostly just to present to our visitors the fact that caladiums can be grown in sun. They're a little bit more dependent on having adequate watering it when they're planted in full sun, but even the white ones will tolerate full sun. Do we point out individual varieties or anything?
If you would like to, something, I don't know if you can pan over this direction, Tim, and this caladium here, which is Snow Flurry, was one of our interns' top pick for the whole week when she was rating. So as Doug was mentioning, the caladiums have done really well here and obviously are catching attention.
It is mostly green and white, but leaves often have some pink spotting on it as well. Another exceptional one is this ballet slippers, which is almost entirely pink except for a little green edge to the leaf.
I will mention while we're over here, the impatiens. Most of y'all remember the catastrophe back in, I think it was 2007, 8, when the downy mildew seemed to come in and just take out all the impatiens. Well, companies have been doing great breeding, and we have this Beacon series from Pan American that is downy mildew resistant. So we're hoping to continue to see these looking nice. They've looked great in the hanging baskets, in the ground, and even in the containers. We have a few that are a little bit weaker, as you can see, but as a whole, they're doing great because with the downy mildew pressure that we have, these could easily all be dead. So maybe start with containers next.
Okay.
All right. And as Mark said, this year, the trials have looked stellar. This is probably one of the prettiest of the years that I've seen since I've been here. And normally by the time we get to August, things have really started petering out. So we're very, very fortunate to have everything looking so nice this year.
Angelonia, wonderful tender perennial for sun. Generally is in full bloom all summer long without any deadheading necessary. We see here a pink one and a white one. Violet is also a real common color. We'll see some violet ones in the ground later on this morning.
Yes.
Tim, as y'all are doing these, people are interested in the specific variety.
Okay.
You know, that's critical on this, not just that they're Angelonia. So pull out the labels and show them to people, or read the names as you do that.
I think we had the Serena and the Serenita series, and they're both in seed. Both have done very well.
You can see the pink one is in the Serenita series, Serenita Pink. And then the white one is in the Serena series, Serena White. So these are things that can be acquired at seed, but maybe more commonly you'd be buying young plants of them in the spring.
Well, with the pink too, you can see that it's more of a pink shade because we go everything from the deeper pink here all the way down to a light pink. But they are grown from seed. And we also probably should point out that we had Hurricane Isaiah, I'm sorry for slaughtering the name, come through on Monday night into Tuesday, and we had almost 4 inches of rain that was dumped overnight very fast. And most of the plants have recovered and are looking fabulous. There again, it's a testament to the breeding that's gone on, their bounce back efforts that the plants have. So you will start to see, like Doug's starting to show you with the zinnias, we do have areas that are busting up, and part of that is because of the winds from this storm that came through.
The Zahara series of zinnias look great all summer long. The way they grow, they generally hide their older flowers with spent flowers, so you don't have to do cleanup on them. This is double cherry and salmon and bright orange. See, they're compact. These are in containers, as you can see. So they're actually more about a foot tall. In containers, they look taller. Great sun plants. Zinnias are also quite good pollinator plants, too.
We also have the holly series here. This one that I'm standing in front of is holly orange. It's an Ameriseed entry. They are a little bit taller, larger flowered, have done really well for us. Then I also have the holly white over here. It's tended to be a little bit leggier and started lodging even before the storm. But it's really pretty. I could see these probably being used in some cut flowers to bring them inside to use in cut flower arrangement.
And I believe that name, H-O-L-I, is after the Hindu holiday where brightly colored powders are broadcast on other people and all over the place. So celebration of color.
When y'all show a label, will you try shading it a little bit? It's real bright and people
Okay.
having trouble seeing it. So if you
Sure.
just hold your hand over it or shade it.
Do we need to show them again or just future? Okay.
Okay. And then, two more zinnias in the Zahara series. Zahara double yellow improved and double white. The white flowers have suffered a little bit from probably from the 4 inches of rain from the hurricane.
You want to talk about these things?
Yeah. These are the same caladiums that we saw under the shade structure. There are a few additional ones that are older varieties. As you see, they're out here in full sun all day and they're fine. Even this pale pink one is holding up fine. Now, in nursery setting, caladiums are often grown in a shaded glass house or poly house. And so when they first are planted out in the sun, that foliage might burn away, but there's enough reserve in the bulb that it'll put up new foliage later on.
On the back side of the bed, the Angelonia continuous, still part of the Serenita and the Serena series. And pretty much any color that you want, you'll be able to find a shade that you could enjoy or mix into your yard. But so we have this is Serenita Rose here, which we also have an oddball one. Then we have here, I'm sorry, we'll try and do this with the shade. The Serena Rose, can you get that one? Okay, is that better? Okay. And then we go on to another of the pink shades, eventually going to purples and the blues. So we have the Serenita Lavender. Does this give you a chance to maybe take a picture of the whole thing, the whole row? And as I said, then going into the blues and the purples, we do the Serenita Sky Blue. This one has started breaking up. There again, I think it's probably due to the winds that we had. This is, as I said, we have the Serenita as well as the Serena series by Pan America. This one, oh, sorry, thank you. Okay, so we have the Serena Blue improved here. Moving on to the purple. And as I said, there's probably a color for any kind of palette you want.
Now, Bernadette, this is an eggplant. What is an eggplant doing in these color trials?
There's more of a focus on edibles in the home landscape. And they have found that if they do smaller containerized size vegetables, people can put them on patios, their porch, and so forth. So these are more compact, smaller plants. As you were just saying, you were showing the fruits here. And interns and some others have taken them during the summer. And they say they're very tasty. And Doug, I believe you said these are Japanese?
Well, let me go back one thing. Vegetables have always been part of the All-American trials,
Right.
Not just ornamental. Bernadette did make the valid point that some edible plants can do double duty. This is not an unattractive plant. It's very prolific. When Tim comes around to the other side, he'll probably find far more examples of fruit on the plant. And if you've never grown this Asian style of eggplant, they are amazingly productive. I think of them as sort of the zucchini of eggplant world.
What was the cultivar on that again?
This is Asian Delight. We harvest a number of fruit off of each plant twice a week. I've grown the large fruited Italian one, the type you perhaps find most commonly in a grocery store. And maybe about late summer, it manages to produce its first fruit. But these Asian type are just so productive, and you can use them any way you would use an Italian style eggplant.
Tim, if you can come over to the side, you can see how prolific they are. Look at this. They are pretty fruit with the shiny gloss.
And you want to pick eggplants while they're still glossy. When they start to lose the gloss, well, that one's still fairly glossy. They're still edible. It's just when they start to lose the gloss, they're becoming more mature, which means that the seeds and sides are getting harder, and so it's less pleasant to eat. But so pick them when they're any size, but best if you pick them while they're still glossy.
Sure. What's the question?
So these specific eggplants, you mentioned that the seed, if you let them on long enough, the seeds would harden and mature. Is it one that if you wanted, say, like the same plant next year, but wanted to grow it from seeds, that you could harvest the seeds from it, or is it a sterile cultivar?
I certainly don't think, well, the question was, can you harvest seeds from these eggplant, and would you produce the same cultivar next year? They are certainly not sterile. I'm pretty certain you would end up still with an Asian style eggplant. I wouldn't consider it the same seed strain, Asian Delight, because they're complex hybrids, and you're going to get some, difference in the offspring raised from those seeds.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I just have a note. They are saying that the labels, even when we're trying to show them, it's not showing. So if you can really enunciate the cultivars.
Okay.
Sure.
You want to talk about the fan flowers?
We have here 3 examples of Savola. Some people pronounce it Scavola. I think of it as the SCS in science. They do have the common name of fan flower. These are new selections that are very compact. Frankly, I like the older varieties to spread a little bit more. These aren't covering much territory, but if you had a teeny tiny garden and you needed teeny tiny plants, they would be a good choice. Savola loves our hot, humid summers, goes really strong all summer long. So it's a great plant, and this is as tall as it gets. If you do container gardens, the ones that spread more are really good on the edge of a container because they'll cascade out. And these all Sundivas?
Yeah.
Yeah, these are all in the, oh, Surdiva.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Surdiva, what's the term I've been using all morning? Not strain, the Surdiva series, Fashion Pink, Blue Violet, and Purple. Great little low-growing plants.
Okay, we're going to go on to the next bed. And if you have any questions, remember, please ask as we're going along. We'd love to hear from you.
Now, Bernadette, I have a general question for you. Did these plants get evaluated?
Yes, each week I go through and I do a rating of the plants out here. I also do a rating of the flowers. So this weekly data then is compiled and put into an annual report that is made available on the JC Raulston Arboretum website. You can also find past year's evaluations on this same website. You can find, we do perennial trials as well, so you can find the perennial trial information as well. So our website is a wealth of information, whether it's you're looking for events or looking for information on past performance of plants here in the trials.
They're asking what type of data do you collect?
It's a composite score that is for like plant uniformity, the habit of it, the consistency of, like, say, flower color, the floriferousness of it. Those are the pretty much, we do not spray, but I do note when we have insect problems. So you're also taking that into consideration. And as we mentioned before, with the hurricane winds and the rain that we had earlier this week, you take that into consideration as well when you're rating things, because most things out here were stellar. And they still are looking great, but they were just really exceptional. So that's what I do.
Earlier, I know someone asked about pollinators. Do you record if there's any major pollinator activity on them?
It's not a formal recording, but I didn't bring my data sheet. I do make like little notations each week about some things, whether something is dying, whether something is covered with pollinators, whether, there's something of interest with it. But that's not something that's generally or formally recorded. Anything else on there?
Oh, do you fertilize the plants?
Okay. Let me just tell you a little bit. I was going to wait till we went to the ground stuff to tell you this. As a matter of fact, why don't we wait till we do that? Because I think we're getting ready to do a commercial break. Let you see one of the videos sent from the companies that are participating this year, which we couldn't do the trials without their participation. So thank you very much to all of them, if any of them are listening today. Is it to Chris? Is that where it should go? Okay.
Oh, video in about 2 minutes. So we have a couple more minutes yet.
Okay. Well, just know I'll address the fertility issue in a few minutes when we go to the bed grown or the in-ground entries, if you don't mind. This way, maybe we can finish up this bed. Celosias. both the in-ground and the ones here in the container have looked very nice this summer. We've had great flower power from them, and they've been going on gangbusters for a good while. So we have, I'm sorry, I have to tell you the names, I'm sorry. It's First Flame Purple, in case you can see it. It's Celosia, First Flame Purple. We have the First Flame Scarlet. This one is the First Flame Red and First Flame Yellow.
I might just interject at this point that you will not need to know any of these plant names for the quiz. The quiz is about, the quiz I think you will find is quite easy. It's general information about the trials itself, not about individual plants.
Okay, one new thing with the Celosia, they are now marketing the Celosia that's grown for foliage as opposed to the ones we just looked at that are more so for their flowers. These, this Soul Lizard Leaf foliage Celosia by Pan American Seeds, it is just this purple leaf with, there's a normal Celosia flowers, but it's more for the foliage that we have the interest in that. Then we also have the Soul Gecko Green, also by Pan American Seeds, and this one is staying very dark, but you'll notice when we go through later, the variety that's in the ground actually has more of the green pattern in it. So a little bit different there, and I have no idea. Doug, do you know why? Because I say they're both grown pretty much in the same area. One's dark and the other one is not.
No, I'm not sure.
Okay, so if anybody does know, put it in the chat. Let us know. Or Tim can, or you, either one.
Which?
This one is.
We have time or
I think.
This is a real interesting salvia. This is Salvia lanceolate. It actually is a species Salvia canariensis, which leads me to believe it's from the Canary Islands. Foliage is fairly fuzzy and gray, which makes me think that it probably is adapted to drier climates than here. These three potted specimens look great. The ones in the ground failed. I don't think they probably tolerate a wet clay soil, but in containers it's been great. I suspect it might also be fairly evergreen, so it might be a good addition to a winter container.
I have seen online it's rated Zone 7B.
Right. Okay.
Then we go on to the two of interest this year. Sorry, this is coming over towards me. I gotta put this on.
Oh, now's a good time for the video, Chris says.
Oh, good, because it's the cover, the cloud cover. We have something called.
It's a good time. So
He's gone.
it's a good time for the video.
Okay, sounds good. Then we'll just bring this back when we get back finished with the video.
Okay, Chris?
Yep, we'll be moving over to the video, so just need to get over to them in just a moment.
Okay.
I'm looking with the cloud.
The IT guy is having IT problems over here. I have the video all loaded up and ready to go, and Zoom is not showing it as an available window to share for some reason. So how about if Bernadette goes for just a little bit more while I just try to do some troubleshooting over here, okay?
In the short time we're here together this morning, we can't show you every single plant, so we're going to pick up the pace and just point out highlights, and Tim will probably catch glimpses of the things that we walk past and don't talk about.
Okay, we're going to take a quick look here. If you can pull in, Tim, on this bee's knees. It's got a very dark, deep, nice yellow saturation in the center. It's an entry by Ball Floral Plant.
And what is it? Is it an African violet?
Oh, I'm sorry, it's a petunia. I'm sorry, it's a petunia called Bee's Knees. And unfortunately, it's getting some pit marks on it, but nice saturated yellow there. Then we also have one that a lot of you are familiar with. It's the Surfinium Purple Starshine. And as you know, this is what sort of started the petunia revolution for Sun Story. You see the pattern, the sun star flower or star-shaped pattern in the center. And that, as I said, is a Suntory entry. Then we're back to Pan American Seed, this Shockwave Purple tie-dye. As you see, it has a variety of different flower patterns. It's unique in that respect.
Now, Bernadette, are they raised from seed or cuttings?
Doug just asked if they were from seeds or cuttings. I have some in here that are from seed. The Pan American seed is a seed one. The Starshine here and the Bee's Knees were both vegetative cuttings that were received. And remember, that's how I can get plant material. I can get it both vegetatively and by seed. And the seeds we start middle of January through January through March.
So we're going to go back to Chris now, or we think we have video ready.
Hello and welcome to this presentation of the newest All-America Selection winners. I'm your host, Diane Blazek, the Executive Director for this fine organization. Today we're going to talk about the recently announced AAS winners that will be readily available for 2021. So what exactly is All-America Selections, or AAS as we are commonly known? We are North America's oldest and most respected plant trialing organization that tests new, unsold varieties in a home garden environment. Think of us like the Good Housekeeping or Underwriter Laboratory seal of approval. Breeders from all over the world send us their new genetics that we then send to our group of 90 professional horticulture expert judges who donate their time to rate these entries against industry standards in that class. After we trial these new genetics and announce the winners, our office spends a lot of time marketing these new varieties. Our first AAS winner is also our first ever winning Coleus. This is Coleus Main Street, Beale Street. The highlight of this winner is the nice deep red foliage that keeps its color in both sun and shade without any spotting. In addition, it will not flower until late in the season. Here in my Chicago garden, it didn't flower until about mid to late September last year. It is produced from vegetative cuttings, and the comparisons were Color Blaze, Ridiculous, and Ruby Slipper. Now we have Rudbeckia Hirta Amarillo Gold that was trialed in our annual trial. Our judges grew it for one season against the comparisons Toto Gold and Denver Daisy. Judges in the Heartland and Southeast loved the garden performance and stunningly large golden yellow flowers with that green center. So this Rudbeckia Hirta Amarillo Gold is our annual winner for 2020. And the last of our annuals is Zinnia Holly Pink. Holly is the Indian festival of colors, I found out when we were writing the description. So we had Holly Scarlet as a winner about a year ago, also from Ameriseed. So this is the second color of AAS winners in the Holly series. This one touts vibrant pink blooms on compact plants, which would make it a great item for a low border Zinnia Holly Pink. And now we get to our herbaceous perennial winners. We have the beautiful Sombrero Baja Burgundy, and this is the first of 2 herbaceous perennial winners that AAS introduced last year. These were trialed for 3 winters, and this introduction is the first results from that trial. It was the first one we had ever done, herbaceous perennials, and we started back in 2016 trialing for 3 winters, and once they re-emerged in summer of 2019, we got all the score sheets back from our judges and knew which ones were going to be winners. It was only after the trial was completed and the winner announcement made that the breeder was able to brand it with the AAS logo and start promoting it as such. This echinacea is certainly a beauty, deserving of the AAS award. Deep red violet blooms are hardy to zone 5. That it has a very uniform plant height, and it performs like the others in the Sombrero series. Now we have our second herbaceous perennial winner, which is Rudbeckia American Gold Rush. The judges loved the shape of this one, not only the domed, mounded plant shape, but also the petals of each flower are just slightly curved downward to give it kind of a optimistic, upward-looking face on the flowers. And it's drought and heat tolerant, will bloom all summer long, just kept going right up through September in many of the areas where it was grown. It will grow to be about 2 feet high, and one of the highlights for our judges is that it was resistant to septorial leaf spot, making it a healthier plant throughout the bloom time. So there you have Rudbeckia American Gold Rush. And that's it for our new AAS winners for 2020. In the beginning of this presentation, I did mention what we do from a marketing standpoint. And of course, today, if you're not on social media, you're not marketing. So we are very active. If you are on any of these social media networks, please follow us. Be very easy for you to then share some of our posts. We have videos of AAS winners that we have out. We work with various brand ambassadors to create videos and blog posts that can be shared. And our website is chock full of information. Every AAS winner has its own URL, so its own page, and it has a ton of information there. It gives you sizes, days to maturity, tips on how to grow it in the garden, and a few other explanations. Every page also has a where to buy button. And we also have a page that is called Buy AAS Winners. So these are our members who carry a good number of AAS winners. And besides that, you can also find them in your local garden center, either in the seed racks or as young transplants that you can take home and put in your own garden. So they should be readily available, and that is how you can get AAS winners in your own garden. And with that, I will now end our presentation with a reminder of what our logos are. We've got the national winner on top, the regional winner below. So when you are looking online, just search for AAS winners. If you're in your local garden center, you can also look for the logos or ask for them by name. And I appreciate your time today. Go out, get in your garden, grow some AAS winners, enjoy the time outdoors, and have a great day.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna now switch.
One more video, Bernadette.
Oh, wait a second. I guess we can.
And then 1 video, and then 2 videos. Just give me a moment to share the second one, okay?
Hello, everyone. I'm Susanna Ball. And I'm Anna Ball, and welcome to the University Summer 2020 Trials.
This year, particularly with all the new plant buyers that the industry had, we're paying special attention, and we always have, but this year even more, to how things perform in the garden outside, because that's what these new plant buyers obviously are going to be attuned to. And we want to make sure that things do really well in a whole variety of conditions. In West Chicago, we've been trialing outdoors since the 1930s, almost 100 years. And it's wonderful that we have trials in universities that are also outdoors. So breeding is really tough for the breeders because we have to breed for the grower to make sure that things grow well in the greenhouse and also that they perform outdoors. And that's a really tough balance, and that's a balance we've been working on for decades and decades, and we're still working on it. So we love to see the university trials because they really show how things do in really tough conditions. This year, one of my favorite introductions is, as you might expect, the Beacon Impatiens, which I have in my own yard at home, which Susanna planted, and they look fantastic right now. I've got them on a wall going all along the street that everybody comments on, so they're just wonderful. So I'd say Beacon is one of my favorites. The Primavera Lavender I really like, and do you have some that you like, Susanna?
Absolutely. In fact, this one right here, the Marble 2 Marigold from Pan Am, is one that I have in my house. But there's also a lot of really cool new intros in the Sky Petunias, which are the, galaxy-looking petunias. Those are always super popular. And
what about Bee's Knees?
Yeah, Bee's Knees is another one. That's a really yellow petunia from Ball Flora Plant, which was a huge hit at our virtual California spring trials this spring. So that was our fan favorite winner voted on the California Spring Trials app. So yeah, there's a ton of really great varieties out there this year, and I know it's hard for some people to get to actual trials in person, but this is a great way to see all the plants in their natural habitat, I guess.
So thanks for all your support, and thanks for seeing these trials virtually, and we hope that next year in 2021 we can all be together again.
Back to you, Tim, Doug, and Bernadette.
Okay, welcome back. I hope everybody had a great bathroom break and back settling in. Just want to remind you, we're going to switch now to go to the bed entries. So remember, we take entries as a hanging basket, a container, and in ground or in the bed. And Doug, I think you were going to talk about the strawberries here.
Just a quick mention of the strawberries. Oh. They're in the buried treasure, BERRIED treasure, and there's red, pink, and white. They are day neutral, so they'll continue flowering and fruiting all summer. The fruit is worth eating. It's not, like your grade A fruit, but it's entirely worth eating. And we're not seeing a whole lot of stolen production, so they are ones that should be fairly well behaved in the garden.
I'm sorry, I meant to answer the question that somebody had about fertility earlier. Just to let you know that the beds prior to planting are tilled or fluffed, so preparing them for our planting. We plant 7, and like Tim, I don't know here, it's easy to see them, 7 plants across the bed per entry. We do have inline irrigation, so if we go through a dry spell, we can easily irrigate. We do not spray. That's one of the things that I can evaluate. I can see insect and disease problems. And plus, most homeowners don't do it anyway, so it's good for them to know. But I do fertilize the beds over the top. Well, actually, early on, I did liquid feed with a dosatron, 200 parts per million, and then I do over the top calcium nitrate. So hopefully that answers the question on nutrition that the person had wanted to have answered. So Doug, I think you can go on.
We have 2 sweet alyssums here. Sweet alyssum is grown from seed, and were these grown from seed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
oh no, proven winter stuff came in as a vegetative.
The old-fashioned sweet alyssum were seed grown. If you started them in the fall, you'd get a little bit of bloom in the spring, and then they would die promptly when the weather warmed up. But these are modern breeding with a great deal of heat tolerance. And here it is early August, and they still look great. They do still have some of the wonderful fragrance of sweet alyssum. The white one is White Night, and then this odd sort of greeny one is Moonlight Night. And just a reminder that if you visit the color trials, we have the bed and the row number, the lane number, so bed E, lane 15, and then the cultivar name, Moonlight Night, and then the scientific name, in this case, well, alyssum is the common name, and then the scientific name, in this case, Lobularia meridima, and then the source of the seed or plants that got planted in the color trial. And if it's a new introduction, first time in our color trials, it gets this little banner up in the corner saying new. So if you visit, you can find all that information with each type of plant. Oh, well, yeah. Sometimes there's value in pointing out our failures as well. There are little seed-grown phlox that are annuals. In Zone 7, they're very worthwhile starting in late summer, and they will live through the winter, and then they will bloom for months in the spring into early summer. But planted as little plants at the beginning of summer, they don't last quite as well. There are 3 different entries in the Giselle series, red, scarlet, and purple. But if you're able to acquire them in the fall, they're really worth planting at that time of the year. Would you like to talk about?
And then jump in. Okay, with the Gaillardias here, you may wonder why we have those in the annual trials. Well, we actually have them because the company gets to pick whether we do something annually or in a perennial, because yes, we do perennial trials. That information is also put onto our website, like the information that's collected weekly from the trials, the color trials. We have the two here. One is Heat 'em Up, or Heat It Up Yellow, which is a proven winner, and we have the Heat It Up Scarlet as well. Great pollinator plants. You can see the activity from the bees on them. Yesterday they had a bunch of bumblebees as well on them. Another great pollinator plant has been this Kufia over here called Vermillionaire. It's another proven winter selection, but you can see if you look at the plant how it sort of shakes, it shimmies a little bit because of all the activity from the pollinators on them. You want to say anything else?
Yeah. On the Gaillardia, you cannot count on these being perennial, but what you can count on is that they will bloom all summer long up until pretty much frost in the fall. Though they do look a lot like the common Gaillardia, they are complex hybrids, I believe, between 3 different species. They're sterile, which is why they continue to flower all summer. And despite being sterile, they're still highly favored by pollinators.
Okay, we're going to be walking for a few beds here, and I wanted just to point out a couple things. You may ask, who comes to the trials? We are a public garden. We are affiliated with North Carolina State University, so we have a unique relationship in that we have students that come to utilize the gardens for classes. We have homeowners that come. We have industry professionals. We have landscapers. FFA comes. 4-H groups come and utilize the gardens. So it's really nice. We have a fabulous mix of spectrum of people that come to visit.
We have a question from them. How do you decide where you plant what?
Based on the number of plants that are sent each year, it's sort of just a guessing game where I want to place them. I try not to put things back in the same place they were the previous year to help with any disease problems, soil-borne disease problems. But we plant them, and we also do like a sort of a color scheme. You start with your lighter shades and move to the deeper. So you start like with your white flowers and move to your deep purples or blues.
Bernadette, I have a question about this really fun zinnia. We saw a bunch of zinnias in containers, and you can see the same ones in the ground here, but this one wasn't in the container, and it doesn't have a cultivar name. It just has this number. Help us understand why that is.
Okay, well, this is part of the All-America Selection Trial, and this is the number they assigned to this particular entry. It's a red and yellow bicolor, as you see. And the 2 zinnias to the right of it are the comparisons that I'll be using for the attributes on this 20 OS 12. And this is not available, as Doug was telling you, it is a trial one. So hopefully it'll be a winner, maybe in 2021, maybe 2022, if it performs well nationwide as well as regionally. But it does have a beautiful pattern on it.
So we really are trialing new plants here.
Oh, absolutely. But, and matter of fact, we have some other things further on that have experimental numbers that aren't even released yet. So yeah, we have the whole gamut of plant material here.
Bernadette, there was the question on how do you decide what to plant?
Oh, I'm sorry, because I think I answered totally different. What do I decide? I really don't. I send an invitation out to the various seed companies, of which we allow anybody to trial with us. We would love to have as much variety as possible. And the companies then decide what they want us to try for this area for them. So I have been known to reach out and say, I want something. Could you provide this, or can we use this? And but for the most part, they are the ones that drive what's out here. Was that okay? Any other questions?
one thing that is on trial is whether or not a seed-grown plant is uniform. You see this row is mostly little 10-inch tall plants, and then there's one seedling that's much bigger, and that's the kind of thing, you know, the grower, the hybridizer wants to know is if his seed is going to produce uniform results. And, you know, it's just 7 plants, but one kind out of 7 could be significant.
We're heading over to the beautiful sunflower over here, the helianthus. No, you get it.
Clouds have gone in. This sunflower was in the trials a year ago, and so we were happy to have it back a second time. Everybody knows sunflowers, probably everybody loves sunflowers, but seed-grown sunflowers are generally, you know, at their peak for a few weeks, and then they quickly finish up and complete their life cycle. They're a true, the seed-grown sunflowers are a true annual. They complete their life cycle in a 1 year's time. But this one, last year, and it's doing the same thing this year, just continues to get better all summer long. And it would help if I actually told you what it was. It's one called Suncredible Yellow. And I've seen it for sale, so it's so worthwhile. And despite being a hybrid, I think you'll see there's quite a few visitors to the flowers. So one of my favorite plants in the color trial.
Okay, and then quickly we'll go back to the edibles. There again, companies are doing them a little more compact. This one here is a seedless pepper. Oh, sorry. It's called Pepe Grande Red, and it's a Pan American selection. Early in the season, I bit into one of the peppers because I wanted to see if it truly was seedless, and it was. I was very surprised. So, but in a nice mellow flavor, so no problem with that. We have another entry here, these habanero peppers. It's Crystal Coast Gold. It's a yellow leafed habanero. And Tim, I'm not really sure if you can, I know I saw a bunch up here. Well, of course, now when I'm looking for it right there, there they are. They were nice little fruit. But I like the color. I like the chartreuse color. Well, oh, thank you, Doug. I see he's, oh, you have some in there. The ones earlier in the season, I didn't have any at the top.
Yeah, this is from the seedless pepper, and it's not 100% seedless, but you see the part you normally cut out at the top of a pepper fruit. There's very, very little to it. So if you normally remove seeds from a pepper before preparing it, this one you could get away without doing that.
And that is a sweet pepper?
Let's try.
The one I had earlier this year was a mellow, is what I said. It was sweet. So yeah.
It is sweet. It is very tender. I often find a lot of peppers have very tough skins and full of flavor. Yeah, it's a good one.
And earlier we mentioned the celosia, the foliage celosia, and you can see here, this is that the Soul Gecko green. I don't know if you're even looking at that. You can see where the green, the in-ground one had much more. You can see the green patterning coming out in this. It's not quite that intense purple that the container was showing. Okay, Doug, if you have something down there, I don't know.
Well, we saw the celosias in containers. I think the ones in the ground are the same ones, but looking a bit better, a little bit more robust. This type of feather celosias, I'm sure most people have seen the old-fashioned type that gets about 5-6 foot tall and isn't quite as floriferous as this. So these modern compact ones are really nice, and they'll go on all summer. Great cut flower. And it's one called Asian Garden, Celosia argentea from All American Selections.
Well, you still got that pepper in your hand, Doug. There's a question for Bernadette about whether you ever use taste as a data point.
No, it's not as a data point. But of course, you got to try everything that you have out here, just so we know whether we can say, you know, if it tastes really poorly, I'm sure I would send that in my comments. But no, that's not. We just do it for our own pleasure.
I'm not a big fan of peppers, and this one is really delicious. It's a bright, clean taste, not heavy. And many of us here have eaten those eggplants you saw earlier this morning. Interns, are those eggplants worth eating?
They're amazing.
Yeah, we have 4 interns who have all eaten eggplants.
I've had those eggplants like the past 5 days.
Okay, and back to the All-America selection. That's who Doug was saying, the Asian Garden Celosia. We participate in two different national programs. We submit our data to the All-America Selections program as well as to the National Plant Database. So we are, as I said before, we're affiliated with the university. We're into data. We like that. We like to share what we do. That's also one of the monikers for the Arboretum as well. We like to share. So just know that we do. We have data out there in 2 national programs.
The delphiniums are very much the same situation as the annual phlox, the seed-grown phlox we looked at a few minutes ago. Planted in the summer, they don't like the summer. They don't perform well. But last fall, we planted some delphiniums, maybe almost early December, and they were glorious this spring. They were 5-6 feet tall. So if you get a chance to plant this type of delphinium in the fall, I think you will be very satisfied with the results. And this is one Desante Blue, a delphinium elatum selection from Heath Seeds.
If you want to go over to start on that section, I'm going to just mention here about the coleus real quick. Since we're sort of trying to stay on time, I'm just going to quickly make a comment about the coleus as a whole. I'm not going to even tell you the different names here just now. I just want you to notice that here we are, the beginning part of August, and there is not a flower to be had on these coleus. So that's something that they would be marked down for with my evaluations. But we have a nice, there again, nice color schemes, nice patterning. But the best thing is that there are no flowers setting yet. So
now, Bernadette, I need clarification. I'm not the brightest person in the world. Are you saying that these coleus are better because they're not blooming, or worse because they're not blooming?
For rating purposes, it's better not to have them flowering. The flowers are a detractor from the plant themselves. This is what you're after for just the colors, the patterns, like what they're going to with the celosia, where you're looking at foliage celosia. You don't really care about the flower on that. Same with the coleus here. So, and I'm sorry, thank you for pointing that out. Okay, we're going to continue on. I sort of feel like we should have the interns come over here when we are talking about the elephant here, because I catch them doing this, tipping the teacups to get the water out when they're out here weeding with us. We weed weekly, and as I said earlier, we take data weekly as well throughout the growing season. Doug, if you can help me here with the crepe myrtles. We received these, and unfortunately the box was all topsy-turvy. So I did my best in sorting them out when they were small little plugs, and when they were planted, we had no idea that we were going to have this much variety across the beds. So I've been moving the labels for where I think they should be. We have, up here would be one. This is the French vanilla. I'm assuming that's the French vanilla. It's clear white. We have a cotton candy one, which has some of the pinks, reds in it. So I'm thinking of like how cotton candy at the fair is a pink. And then we have Well, the difference between those, one is a little bit more prostrate. This cotton candy is a little bit more upright. Then we did Cherry Delight, and Cherry Delight there again looks like it's the upright one. And then I have one that hasn't bloomed, and by default, I'm saying that it's the red velvet, but we'll see when it blooms what's happening there. But y'all, we have some other shrubby type crepe myrtles here in the Arboretum. And I don't know how tall these are gonna get, but I'm hoping they'll be as beautiful as the ones that I have seen earlier this year.
And I might make the point that, you know, here in the warm South, we know crepe myrtles as trees or large shrubs, but in colder parts of the country, crepe myrtles could be planted as summer annuals. These were little unbranched cuttings when they arrived about March or so, and they've come on real quickly. So in a place with winters too cold for crepe myrtles to survive the winter, they still could be useful as bedding plants in the summertime.
I don't know if you want to.
Well,
No, I was going to say I wanted the other one to make sure we pointed out.
you want that one?
Yeah, the failure.
All right. The genus Salvia is huge, hundreds and hundreds of species, you know, from tropical trees to little alpine plants, but there are many that are really good for summer display. Salvia farinacea, the mealy-cup sage. This is a new development called Unplugged So Blue from Proven Winners. Salvia farinacea is a superb plant in this area. It's quite drought tolerant. It blooms all summer. You notice there's quite a few bumblebees on it. We always have some extra plants of these things, so we've also planted this and several other salvias where we can leave them in the ground over winter to see if they're winter hardy. Salvia farinacea is generally winter hardy, but not all seed grown, not all cultivars of it, so we'll try that. The same can be said of this selection of well, either Salvia guarnitica or cerulean or a hybrid. This one has been reliably winter hardy for us. This is one called Rocking Blue Suede Shoes. It's a superb hummingbird plant. Do you want to say anything about that guy?
The fuchsia? No,
yeah.
the fuchsia colored one? No, but I was going to say, I just wanted to mention, as Doug went on about the salvia that was in the container, that's a winner. It looked great. Here again, it's the Lancelot. And Lancelot in the ground for us did not perform very well. Of the 7, only 2 are surviving. One is still limping along. This first one actually looks like it's doing much, much better. But anyway, it hasn't flowered yet, but I think, as I was saying, it's just was too moist for it.
A moment ago, we saw the blue selection of Salvia farinacea. This is also Salvia farinacea, the mealy-cup sage. A really promising looking white selection called White Flame. Notice all the bumblebees on it. They're also great cut flowers.
Is this a good time now to cut into the next
Yeah.
video?
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
Okay, so we're gonna throw this back to you then, Chris.
Alrighty, just give me a half a moment to get the next video loaded up. We only have one at this time. And I apparently lied. Oh, I guess I'm gonna play 2 videos this time around, so give me a moment.
Granvia Gold has been a great introduction for Suntory. Last season we had a limited pre-intro. This year we'll have full-scale capacity from all the farms. So you'll see that it's much larger. You see that the bloom is larger as well. It's also got this great bright yellow color. You'll see when it opens up all the way here on this bloom that it's also got this great contrasting orange center to it. This is great for large patio pots. It's also good for all season. You can grow this in spring and fall. It's a great addition. It's also got kind of that sensory feel with the straw flower, so it's really great, kind of a conversation piece for consumers. Cerdiva scaevola has been a game changer for not only Suntory, but also for the whole genus of scaevola. Our scaevolas stay naturally more compact, and then you'll also see that the flower actually is all the way through the stem, so you get a lot more color coverage than you would on a more traditional scaevola. We're excited to introduce this new unique purple to the series. It's our first purple, but it's also a different color that you wouldn't see throughout scaevola as well. So we're really excited about this new addition. So we have the Cerdiva scaevola line here. One thing with the Cerdiva, it's been a game changer for the genus as a whole for the market. You'll see here that they're a lot more compact. You also have flowers all the way from the bottom to the top of each branch. So you get a lot more color coverage than you would on a more traditional scaevola. But they still have the great summer performance that scaevola has. So they'll last all the way from spring to fall even in some areas. So right here we have the blue violet. It's a great rich color. Doesn't exist in any other line of scaevola. So this has been a really good top seller for us. Then we have the white. We've got the new purple. That'll be for the 2021 season. And then here we have the fashion pink and the sky blue over here in the corner. So we now have 5 colors for the series. We're really excited about this. So these do great in baskets. They do great in combo containers. They play well with other genus as well. And then they also have really, really great landscape performance.
Hi, I'm Delilah with Suntory Flowers, and I'm here to tell you about our hottest new bedding plant, Swari Kwai Catharanthus. So Catharanthus, as you may know, is the genus for vinca, but these are completely different. You will see they are loaded with tiny flowers that are actually tiny but terrific. They go the distance all summer, just looking great for months and months, thriving in heat and humidity. Kwai actually means cute in Japanese, so lots of cute flowers here. Very easy to care for and very good for commercial grower. So now we are up to 8 colors in the series. What I'm holding here now is the new Blueberry Kiss. Blue is a very desirable and essential color and hard to find. And so this is perfect for the red, white, and blue combinations. And we also have a new Coral Reef, which, so we've had coral, which has just been a landscape superstar, but it's more vigorous than the rest of the plants. So as you can see, compared to coral, much tighter habit. The flowers, you still have the nice coral pink with the white eye, but it's star-shaped instead of pinwheel-shaped. So an excellent alternative for growers who want the tighter, more compact variety. But we're keeping coral because it is such a landscape superstar. So we now have 8 colors in this series, and you're gonna love them. Hi, I'm Delilah with Suntory Flowers, and we are putting together combinations with Swari Kwai Catharanthus. So we have 8 colors in the series, and now we've been mixing and matching and blending to see, with combos being so popular, which ones will grow the best together. Well, one essential is the red, white, and blue, which was made possible by the new Blueberry Kiss. So as you can see, we have the white peppermint, the Blueberry Kiss, and red shades, all beautiful. Imagine this on the 4th of July or Memorial Day, taking that home. Plus, you can buy the colors separately. You have a whole scheme. It'd be amazing, and you relax all summer. And then another one with 3 colors is more of what I call a smoothie. So it's blueberry kiss, light purple, and lavender. And, you know, ladies love purple and lavender. And what an excellent offering at retail to have just all kinds of purple loveliness. And then also for high contrast, there's just 2 colors instead of the 3. So here we've done the white peppermint with the red shades. Very high contrast, picks up the red eye and the white peppermint. If you're looking for a more bold, striking contrast, there's the 2 color ones. We are going to be offering combinations of Saguaro Quai Catharanthus in the near future.
One more video from this segment, Tim.
Welcome back. Just wanted
One
to
more video, Bernadette.
emphasize again that
Oh, wait, okay.
Welcome to Garden Choice. Garden Choice is a breeder alliance from Garden Genetics, Eastern Horticulture, Botanical Trading Company, and Pioneer Gardens. Together, we are excited to announce to you several different product items that we are releasing in the marketplace here in 2020. Let's take a look at some of the new varieties. Here is the Delightful Dahlia series. The Delightful Dahlia series from Garden Choice is a unique line of genetic short, dark foliage varieties of dahlias that are terrific in blooming. Let's take a look at some of the varieties that are in the Delightful Dahlia series. Here we are. We're looking at some of the varieties. On the top left, you'll see Sultry Scarlet. Then right below there, you see Crushed Crimson. And then on the bottom left, it's Tupelo Honey. On the bottom right, we have Lovely Lady. And on the top right, we have Georgia Peach. These Delightful Dahlias are unique in the colors. They're prolific in their blooming, and they create beautiful displays in your garden. Let's take a look at some of the benefits of this. The Delightful Dahlias come in availability as liners or direct to you from URCs. The URCs are produced by Kinsler, North America, at the Renova plant location in Costa Rica. If you're looking for purchasing liners, you can get those from Davis Floral, Mass Young Plants, Plant Peddler, Plug Connection, or Raker Roberta's. Those organizations are the rooting stations for the Garden Choice Network, and they will provide you with terrific liners, as you can see in the pictures right here. These are dark leaf, cut leaf, in a compact habit. They're about 50% of the size of what the Mystic Illusion are doing, and they're powdery mildew tolerant. The winter growth is excellent, so when you start URCs early, you get good growth early on in the season to provide a strong garden performance. Our next item is the Great Myrtle series, the Lagerstroemias. We're excited to announce to you the Lagerstroemias in the Great Myrtle line that are a shrub type, also in a genetic short format that is hardy, at least zone 6, and we're already trialing them for zone 5B right now in its winter hardiness. These plants that you see in the pictures here, they have been in the ground in a 7-year trial, and they're still in shrub form. They do not need to be cut back. They do not need to be trimmed. if you don't want to. The plants have survived a minus 20 Fahrenheit winters, and so, like we said, we're looking at some zone 5B hardiness right here. The plants die back to the ground each year, but then right about mid-end April is when they start flushing back out and the first foliage starts pumping as soon as the day length is extended and the day temperatures are popping above 70 degrees. Let's go and look at some of the varieties that we have available in the line. On the bottom left, you'll see a light pink, which is called Cotton Candy. Right above there, you'll see the variety Cherry Delight, which is a deep pink. Then straight above, which is one of the pots that we took a picture of at a nursery right on the concrete floor, that is Red Velvet. And then on the right side, you'll see our white variety called French Vanilla. We took some closer pictures of these, of the flowers, so you can take a look at them. Here are some of the pictures of the flowers: French Vanilla, Cotton Candy, Cherry Delight, and Red Velvet. We put the Swiss Army knife right above it for comparison so you can see the size of the flowers. Our experience is when we have liners transplanted into a trade gallon in late February, they are ready to sell in bloom by early May. And they will remain in flower in central Pennsylvania until the first hard freeze. In our 2019 Florida trials, these great myrtles were planted in mid-March. They were in bloom by the second or third week of May, and we made very nice full 3-gallon containers. Great for spring sales when they're done in southern Florida, and then we can ship them up as pre-finished blooming material, or you can grow them up north here and then you have them blooming for summer into the fall. Let's look at the next line. This one right here is Minnebeckia Flame. The Minnebeckia rudbeckias are sterile, ever blooming, they're quick growing, dense in branching, disease tolerant, large semi-double flowers, and the flowers get fuller and more double when the season progresses. It's compact in its habits, about 24 inches tall, and the Minnebeckia Flame overwinters. It's a beautiful variety, great addition, and it's one of the top selections in the country right now that all the trial gardens are looking at. Here you see some pictures from 2019. The one on the left was a 10-inch container that we grew out for one of the shows in the trials, and then on the right you'll see another picture where we grew them earlier this spring in 2020 when we had them on extended light just to get them to bloom earlier on in the season, and they did absolutely beautiful. The Minnebeckia Flame are a Rudbeckia hirta type, and the overwintering trials that we performed at a Garden Choice Farm in State College, Pennsylvania, it's been blooming now after 2 winters, so it's in its 3rd blooming season. So Minnebeckia Flame does overwinter. The picture you see here was transplanted in May 2018 from a 4-inch liner. It flowered all season long in 2018. That image is taken on July 3rd in 2019, and it did bloom again for us here in June, late June of 2020. This is an excellent variety, and it's proliferous in its blooming, and as you can see, it just pumps out a ton of flowers, so it's a beautiful setting. The next item we have here is Nepeta Sylvester Blue. This Nepeta hybrid is a beautiful hybrid of large flowering petals that have a pot that just fills out really nice. As you can see, this plant will grow quite fast, fills out a pot really fast, and it's very uniform in its habit all the way across. We've tried this in 6-inch, we've tried it in 1 gallons, we've tried it in 8-inch, and we've tried them in 10-inch. And it takes a little bit longer to fill them out in the 10-inch, but we're amazed with how fast this variety grew. We have moved this variety to the top of our list in production, and it's in full release for 2021. Here you see a close-up picture of another catmint here, a Nepeta, which is Cat's Meow, and on the right side you see our variety, Sylvester Blue. We just wanted to show you the comparison on the flower size. Right here you see a display on the foliage where you can look at how the Nepeta foliage is looking, and then on the bottom right you will also get to see a picture of one of the pots that we had in one of our consumer patios for you to take a look at as well. Excellent variety, this Nepeta Sylvester Blue, great for larger landscaping projects in municipalities, rotaries, those kind of areas, as it is a strong performer. All these varieties from Garden Choice are available through Botanical Trading Company, Pioneer Gardens, and Eastern Horticulture. And together we bring these exciting products to you. And of course, you can also get these through our Routing Station Partner Network as well. Thank you so much.
Back to you, Tim, Bernadette, and Doug.
I beg your pardon? Okay, well, welcome back. Just wanted to make a general comment about the petunias. As I said before, here we are at the beginning part of August, and we still have petunias looking gorgeous. Usually by now they're burned out and have don't look anywhere near as stellar as this. One of my favorites this season has been this small little dainty plant here. It's called Supertunia Mini Vista Pink Star. It's a proven winners. But as I said, I do like the compactness. I like the small flower. I love the pattern on it. It's just, to me, it's a very eye-pleasing plant. But this also is a good marker to tell me that, or to remind you that our past reports are on the JC Raulston website. And so it's good to go back and see how some of these varieties did in years past, because each year is just a snapshot for that year. It's not necessarily how the plant is going to perform every single year. So remember to look back if you'd like to. Past years are on the JC Raulston website, and that's a good bit of information for you.
Do you keep track of precipitation and temperature by chance?
Oh, I was asked if we keep track of precipitation. I keep weather data, yes. So I do the temperatures, highs, lows, and the rainfall. So all those are indicators, and there again in that annual report that, as I keep telling you, you can find on the JC Raulston website. You'll find all that information in there as well.
Bernadette, how many years have you been keeping records on the color trials?
I can't give you a set answer, but I'd say we probably have reports going back to the early 90s. When I first started with the trials, they were purely display gardens, so we didn't take data. And it was probably 89, 90 when we started taking data in here. And there again, those reports have been archived on our website, but I believe somebody told me that there was a computer glitch with accessing them right now, but normally you can. We have archived ones as well as the current, probably 5 years back you can find on there, whether it's annuals or perennials. Because as I mentioned before, we do perennial trials as well. Shall we move on?
Yes.
Okay. We also put out signage about the Year of, which is a program that the National Garden Bureau puts out each year. And we don't plant all of their Year of series, but this year we had in the trials 2 different things that we put in. One is here, it's the Year of the Lavender. So you can go to their website, the National Garden Bureau's website, and they can tell you all you want to know in a nutshell about the different types of lavender. It's also the Year of Lantana. So we have these markers out in the beds as well. So just trying to make sure we educate you when you come through the gardens. Oh, well, we do have the eggplant that's growing in the ground here, and there again, as we said before, you can just see it's a very prolific grower. We've got lots and lots of fruit. So the interns will be, the interns will be happy. They'll have eggplant again for supper. Yeah, for supper tonight. As I mentioned, we have the lantana. It's the year of 2020 is the year of the lantana, and just put out these little information snippets. So for somebody that maybe doesn't know much about the plant material, this helps them learn a little bit.
And lantana is great. It'll continue blooming even through the hottest, sunniest, driest summer. A great pollinator plant, and these both are in the Royale series. This is Royale Cosmo, and that one's Royale Luscious Red. And they are quite compact for lantana, because lantana's, typical size is quite large.
And I guess we can maybe move over here. Sure. Do you see something that? Okay. Okay, we're gonna take a quick sprint over to the heuchera. That's part of our perennial trial. As I said before, we do perennial trials there, and that information, guess where you can find it? Yes, on the JC Raulston website. I feel like I'm stumping for the website. Okay, take it away, Doug. Yeah, you're right there.
You ready, Tim?
Yeah, give me just a second. Okay.
The heucheras that are grown primarily for their colorful foliage are more commonly grown in part shaded areas, but these three selections are looking tolerably well for an early August day. They look pretty much the same through the winter as well, so they give you year-round color. I don't know. Well, we have a Forever Red, a Grande Amethyst. Grande is a series of various different ones. And then this one, which is Grande Cloud.
I will make one comment though. As Doug was saying, that they also have pretty colors during the winter months. This Forever Red is a brilliant red. It's a very beautiful, clear red. To me, it's amazing with these being out in full sun, how they've lasted this long. Usually, we don't have luck with the heucheras out in full sun.
How long have these been in here?
This is they've been out here 3 full years. So they've been proven to me. Okay, then we have one last bed of the annuals that I wanted to have Doug and I talk to you about. It's the Vincas, and as you can see, you'll see places where we have the splitting due to the winds that we had with the hurricane that came through Monday night into Tuesday. But we also have this new series here that is by Suntory, which is the Soiree Kawaii series, kawaii meaning cute in Japanese. But these, you can see, they're tight mounds covered from wall to wall with these diminutive flowers with a nice pattern on them. So they come in a variety of colors. As I said, that was the white peppermint. You can see with the white and
There's
reds.
a quick question here. Do you know anything about the Phytophthora resistance on these, Chris, that people were asking?
Unfortunately, I can't address that. I have not had an issue with Phytophthora in many years out here. So, but I don't know. If we have anybody with Suntory online, maybe they could answer that in the chat. Or with Pan American, because we also have quite a few of their entries in here as well. So I'm sorry, I can't answer that. I haven't experienced a problem in many years. Anybody else? No? Okay. Well, anyway, so I was just going to say that with this Soiree Kawaii series, there are a variety of colors, like all the other series of Vincas. It's just a smaller, daintier flower. The Valiant series that's put out by Pan American, you can see here to its left. The Valiant series is another one that's performed very well here, stayed, even though it's larger, a little more open, it has stayed uniform throughout until we had these winds. Doug, do you want to say anything about these, or we just keep going?
Well, thrilled with that weather. Vinca's great for late summer color. Did you want to introduce any of the other selections?
Well, the one you're right in front of, the coral, it's the Soiree Kawaii Coral. That one is a little bit larger, as you can see from the one beside it. But there again, and I think I probably like a little bit larger plant frame. It shows off the flowers better to me than when you have it so compact. But anyway, so the coral one is another one that's very, this whole series has been very uniform, very compact, very uniform. You can see beside it, this one is, they call it coral reef as opposed to coral. Then you go to coral reef. A little bit further down, we have, they say red shades, but as you can look across, you'll see that it's pretty uniform. It looks like it's all the same color of red. But we have that, and then at the very end here, we have the blueberry kiss, I believe. Yeah, Soiree Kawaii blueberry kiss. And that's one of the larger ones. I guess the smallest one that we have is going to be that peppermint one. But there again, small. If you have an area that you need a high impact, you can use that because they're nice and condensed, consolidated, tidy habits, or go with the Valiant series, Valiant series. That one is a little more open, and there again, lots of different opportunities and colors with that as well.
This year we also have the tattoo series. I see that it doesn't seem to be in this bed, but there's many different tattoo selections in containers, and they're a typical large flowered form, the traditional form of Vinca, but with a strongly contrasting eye. Most of them have a very dark eye, though there was one with a white eye and a pink blossom, which was quite striking.
And thank you for mentioning that, because we really just sort of glossed over the hanging baskets. Because remember, hanging baskets, containers, and in the ground, those are 3 different ways you can enter plant material into our trial. But up in the hanging baskets, the tattoos did look, and that's where they were. They were put in the up there, not down in the ground. And those have looked very good. I think.
I have one question before we finish up. We mentioned in the containers, you mentioned the scaevola. And one of the things the older scaevolas were known for was having a wave of flowers and then no flowers, and then a wave of flowers. I see these have pretty good show of flowers. Have they been off and on this year as well?
No, once they started flowering, they have been consistent all the way on. You can see you start having that haloing effect where you have the center goes just to vegetative, but that's only started here in the last little bit. Another thing actually beside it, this Gypsophila, which was an All-America selection winner several years ago. It's called Gypsy White. Usually the Gypsophila is dead by now. I'm not saying failing, it's dead by now. So this year has been an interesting one on many levels. We have things that are looking fabulous that we typically don't have even alive this late in the growing season.
I'm sorry, go on.
No.
And the Gypsophilas are baby's breath. Like you get cut stems of baby's breath with a single rose in the florist shop. So this is a very complex one.
Okay, I think.
How are we doing for time?
Time and questions.
There is one term that comes up occasionally when discussing these annuals that I feel I should explain for purposes of clarity, and that is the term tender perennial. It's an abbreviation for frost tender perennial, plants that don't survive a frost. And many of the plants we grow as annuals are actually perennial in a frost-free climate, but we grow them as annuals because we plant them in the spring after the danger of frost is past, and they grow all summer up until a hard frost. But if you took the exact same plant and brought it inside in the winter or grew it in a frost-free climate, it would continue living for years and years. Things like coleus and yeah, are you indicating the Vinca? The Vinca and the Scaevola, they go on. They're tender perennials. So if you ever come across that term, it is a little bit confusing, but think about it. And I think part of the confusion is when gardeners use the term perennial, what they really usually mean is a winter hardy herbaceous perennial. Well, any plant that lives from year to year, like an oak tree or a hosta, are perennials. Herbaceous ones without permanent woody stems. And then whether a plant is hardy or not is dependent on the genetics of that plant and the climate it's growing in. So,
Can I say something?
they, you know, a lot of the tender perennials are tropical plants that love heat and humidity, so many of them make really excellent annuals for us in this climate.
Bernadette, there are a couple questions for you.
Sure.
I think maybe you mentioned it, but it might not hurt to mention it again. You said a lot of these come in as seeds and vegetative cuttings that you do. When are you sowing seeds to get for your target planting date?
Okay, we start in January and sow weekly until about mid-March. So you start like with, say, the really small, finer seeded things like begonias, and then your larger items like the marigolds, zinnias, cannas, all those things are later in the season for us. So we sow weekly from January to about mid-March. We get our vegetative material in about mid-March, and that's just finished in the greenhouse before it's hardened off and planted.
And how often are you evaluating the plants?
We do that weekly, and then the data is compiled at the end of the season, and it is put into a report, and it's found on the JC Raulston website. Yes. And we invite all companies to come and trial with us. We would love to have representation from many other companies. So if you're seeing this and would like to join us, know that I'd love to have you.
Very good. In normal years when the Arboretum is open, who's allowed to come and visit the trials?
Oh, the trials, as I said before, we are a public garden, so we're uniquely poised because we also are affiliated with the North Carolina State University. So we have students use the grounds for classes. We have our children's program where the children use it. We have 4-H, we have FFA, we have commercial reps that come to see how their entries are doing in a normal year. This year, everything's closed. We also have other green industries, the landscapers, and we also have homeowners, of course. So we run a wide spectrum of foot traffic through here.
So pretty much anybody can come and see the color trials.
Anyone is more than welcome when our gates are open to come and look at the trials, take pictures, and enjoy. Hopefully, it inspires some people to plant some of these things in their yard. That's part of the reason we do this.
I'm not sure everybody understands what a plug is. You said that some of the plants come in as plugs.
It's a vegetative cutting. It's a rooted. They take it. Usually it's a tip cutting, and they'll root it, and can be rooted in oasis and soil and various other media, and they're sent to me as very small little plants. They're probably 1.5 inches, 2 inches most tall, and we put those into pots here and then finish them out or grow them out. Is that clear as mud?
There have been some asking more about the perennial trials. If you could talk a little more about the perennials.
Could they tell me what they want to know? Yes, we do perennial trials. They are in the ground for 2 full years. The third spring, the flush we record survivability each year, but it's the third season with that flush. That's when they are removed, usually. Sometimes we relocate them to places here on at the Arboretum, and other times, just due to space, we find other homes for them. Any other questions about that? Because there are just 2 comments I wanted to make.
Oh, there's one other video. Chris forgot about another video.
Okay. I just wanted to say, if you turn around, we have had 4 interns that came to us late at the end of June. I'm very thankful that they came and helped us with the Arboretum as a whole, but selfishly, more so for myself, for what they've provided, the work they've provided in the trial. So thank you, and we wish you well with whatever future endeavors you have.
Thanks.
Okay, we'll let it send it back to you, Chris, for a video.
I'll be getting it going in just a second. Give me one moment, please.
Hello and welcome to the Must-Have Perennials presentation for the NC State University Trial Garden Field Day. This year marks our 25th anniversary of working with breeders, propagators, growers, and retailers to bring some of the world's most popular perennial plants to market. While we certainly wish we could visit with you in person, we're happy to have this opportunity to share more with you about our great brand of plants. Originally known as Blooms of Bressingham, we can trace our roots back to 1947 at the Bressingham Nursery in the UK. Founded by Adrian Bloom, the organization was responsible for many perennial introductions over the years, of which many have gone on to become garden staples. In 2016, we rebranded as Must-Have Perennials and Roseanne & Friends, providing the organization an opportunity to differentiate itself through targeted audiences. As a branded perennial program, we work with breeders worldwide to source and introduce the finest garden plants known to horticulture. Hello and welcome to the Must-Have Perennials presentation for the NC State University. Trial Garden Field Day. This year marks our 25th anniversary of working with breeders, propagators, growers, and retailers to bring some of the world's most popular perennial plants to market. While we certainly wish we could visit with you in person, we're happy to have this opportunity to share more with you about our great brand of plants. Originally known as Blooms of Bressingham, we can trace our roots back to 1947 at the Bressingham Nursery in the UK. Founded by Adrian Bloom, the organization was responsible for many perennial introductions over the years, of which many have gone on to become garden staples. In 2016, we rebranded as Must-Have Perennials and Roseanne & Friends, providing the organization an opportunity to differentiate itself through targeted audiences. As a branded perennial program, we work with breeders worldwide to source and introduce the finest garden plants known to horticulture. Must-Have Perennials trial gardens can be found at Ayers Greenleaf Plants, located in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. We also utilize partner facilities and trial gardens in the EU and UK. Licensing more than 100 varieties through 30 licensees worldwide, we provide royalty collection and disbursement through our licensing agent, Royalty Administration International. Must-Have Perennials assists with the naming of varieties, developing marketing strategies, carrying out worldwide protection and licensing of the variety, as well as distribution through our worldwide network of licensees. We have representatives in the USA and Europe, including our UK-based breeder agent, Paul Gooderham. Paul is with Blooms of Bressingham and has been representing Must-Have Perennials for more than 25 years. He can trace his horticultural roots back to his grandfather hybridizing for Allen Bloom at Blooms of Bressingham. Paul also assisted with the development and introduction of one of the most successful perennials of all time, Geranium Roseanne, propagating and selecting the original plant provided by the Waterer family. In 2000, Must-Have Perennials introduced the world's best-selling perennial plant to market, Geranium Roseanne. Her gorgeous good looks and hardy, resilient nature have made her a perennial favorite among garden professionals and beginners alike. Roseanne has earned prestigious recognition as the Royal Horticultural Society's Plant of the Centenary and the Perennial Plant Association's Plant of the Year, among many other awards. Roseanne's enduring success as a best-selling perennial favorite is a proud testament to Must Have Perennials' strict quality guidelines, market knowledge, and experience. All Must Have Perennials plant introductions go through rigorous trials for quality and reliability testing at secure trial sites worldwide prior to introduction. Only those which prove to be genuinely garden-worthy make it into commercial production. Our perennial flowers are also trialed at universities and botanic gardens, which provide valuable information on regional performance. Let's take a look at some of our new variety introductions for 2020 and 2021. As always, we've made our new selections with a focus on performance, stability, hardiness, and uniformity. We hope you're just as excited about these new offerings as we are. Lychnis Petite Henry is a great companion to Petite Jenny. This white version of the long-blooming popular plant provides a great accent to any border or garden bed with prolific plumes of white flowers fading to pink as they die back. Petite Henry also attracts helpful garden pollinators to the yard. Our new varieties of Delosperma are sure to add pop and fizz to borders, rock gardens, and ground cover all summer long. Delosperma Mountain Dew features bright yellow blooms, while Delosperma Orange Crush shines vivid orange. Our lovely new Buddleia, Butterfly Gold, features variegated yellow and green foliage and large purple and mauve flower spikes. Butterfly Gold blooms all summer long, adding gorgeous color to outdoor spaces that make it one of our favorite garden standouts. We're very excited about the fall season this year because we've made some great new additions to our popular Dendranthema Igloo series. Dendranthema Autumn Spice Igloo features orange-bronze blooms that flower well into October. Autumn Spice pairs nicely with Dendranthema Brilliant Igloo, which touts great uniformity in habit and features vibrant yellow flowers well into the fall season. Our Lupin West Country series adds serious wow factor to any garden. These upright, spiky flowers add vertical interest to garden spaces, and their gorgeous array of colors make a huge impression. These bold lupins also attract hummingbirds, bees, and other helpful pollinators to the garden. Echinacea Lovely Lolly features unique, pink, double, decorative blooms that stand atop deep purple stems. She boasts a bold, impressive stature with highly uniform habit and blooms from summer through late October. Heuchera Steel City excels in all categories of beauty, performance, and floral display. This rugged perennial sports abundant, light pink flowers that rise above unique gray-green foliage. Steel City blooms reliably from late May to early July. So, have you found a new plant and don't know what to do next? Must Have Perennials has many years of experience in plant protection, trialing, and marketing to help you plan out the best path to bring your plant to market. Our connections to produce and sell perennial plants are extensive, including young plant and finished plant growers and retailers, along with garden designers and communicators to promote perennials all the way through to consumers interested in gardening as part of their lifestyle. If you'd like to learn more, please check out our website at musthaveperennials.com or connect with us on Facebook and Instagram. We'd love to hear from you. Also, be sure to take a look at our customer-facing website, geraniumroseanne.com, and find her on Facebook and Instagram for gardening tips and gorgeous pics.
Back to you, Mark.
All right, thank y'all all for participating in this with us. We do this really to support the growers who are developing these plants, but also so that those of you who are, growing these wholesale, those of you who are selling them retail, those of you who are planting them in landscape situations, homeowners can have a chance to see what's out there and what's really interesting. We will put together a list of all the plants that are in the plant trials that we can get to you. Chris will figure out how we can do that. I want to especially thank all of the trial participants. We we've watched videos from some of them, but I want to let you know who all is here. We have All-American Selections, Ameriseed, Ball Flora Plant, Classic Caladiums, Crystal Coast Plant Genetics, Dooman Orange, Garden Choice, Keeft Seed, Must Have Perennials, Pan American Seed, Proven Winners, Selecta, Suntory, Syngenta, and Terra Nova are all part of the program, and their support makes this possible. We're always looking for new folks to join in this. So if you have a seed company that you think should be represented out here, please get them to us. There is a quiz if you would like landscape contractor CEUs. Chris will put the link to the quiz in the chat. But once again, thank you. And I do want to tell anybody, any of the folks who really rely on our trials, who come out here every year to look at the plants, to decide what to put into production, what to buy in their retail sites, you can get in touch with me. My email address is on the same website as our trial report, so jcra.ncsu.edu. And while we're not open, we would be willing to arrange for people to come out and visit the trials if they're in the green industry and producing and selling this plant material. So you can get in touch and do that, because we do know that this is an important part of how people make decisions every year. So we do want to give you that opportunity. Chris, is there any other housekeeping that I need to take care of?
I'm good over here on my end. I've sent out the quiz a couple of times, so the landscape contractors can find that right there in the chat. And just as a reminder, the appointment that Mark was just talking about is going to be for nursery and green industry professionals only that need to do some kind of business at the Arboretum. It's not going to be open to the public.
Correct. Well, thank you everybody who participated in this. We really wish we could have had you out in person. It's one of our favorite days when we have everybody out here, but we're trying to help you out as best we can. Thanks and goodbye.